What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Topher and Tyler
Tyler and Topher.
podcast.
Yeah. Everybody listen up, I got some really good news. It's time that Topher and Tyler come and bring you the views on current politics. A lot of it's corrupted and skewed, but they're about to break it down to information you can use. Started on TikTok, then they hit the gram. The guidelines flip-flop, caught up in the sham. Censoring conservatives, it's all a big scam. Now they got their own podcast and kick it with the fam.
Man, dude, I gotta say that intro is so lit, bro.
Bro. I mean, it's all your idea, man. Because I remember you was like, "Hey, man, I need some of that Keenan and Kel type intros," and I went back and I studied a little bit. I was like, "Man,"
but bro, I didn't think that you were legit gonna do that though. Like, I know we were talking about it, but I didn't think. I was just throwing it out there, and then you come back, it's like, "Yo, here's the intro," and you didn't even say anything. You were just like, "Yo, here's the intro," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, let's go ahead and hear this." And as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Damn, this shit is funky."
Yeah, man. I made sure to get that G-Funk, man. I went through a couple tracks and I was like, nah, man, we gotta make this thing bounce, upbeat, and just because we wanted something super short and sweet. I wasn't gonna do a minute one, so I did one about 30 seconds, man. But yeah, like Alex said over here, man, said the intro was fire.
It's
Appreciate
fire, right? That's awesome, man. So dope. So check it out, guys. So yeah, so basically we're making this, man, because, well, for one, Topher and I are definitely probably most prominent. I don't know. Would you say you're most prominent on TikTok too?
Yeah, I would say most prominent. Yeah,
like, right, you're most active, like, on TikTok.
No, actually, no. I get more engagement actually from Instagram. To be fair,
that's because, man, in the last like 2 weeks, you shot up to over 100K, bro.
Yeah, well, after they took me out of shadow ban and gave me my live back, they restricted me for a whole month with that joint, man.
That's wild, dude. They finally gave it back to you?
Yeah, so I can go live again. And only thing is, I go live every once in a while, and I try to limit it because I want them to ban me again. So
right. But yeah, so basically, like, well, at least for myself, like on TikTok, you only got 60 seconds to really say what you got to say, right? Unless you have like multiple videos. So yeah, man. So we wanted to create this podcast just to kind of dive deeper into some issues, and we're gonna kind of jump on into it. You want to talk about election fraud is pretty heavy right now.
Yeah, election fraud, man. Speaking of that, yeah. So far, a couple lawsuits. I know Epic Times updated their electoral map to represent more of an accurate count. I think that puts right now they have Joe Biden at what 224, I think,
something like that. Yeah, and I think
Trump
is still like what 217 or something like that.
No, he's 232 actually.
Oh, yo, hold on. So wait, so Trump is ahead of Biden now?
Yeah.
Oh man. Because, and you know what's crazy? I think I saw a video, some video on TikTok, and someone made it like, guys, I told you that you guys should have watched it and wait. The media does not dictate who wins. And then you have like, your typical snowflakes in the comments, and they're just like, oh, you're trying to cope. It's like, trying to cope with what? A second ago, you were just saying that the media was doing it and the media was right. And now the media is saying the opposite, and you're like, oh no, y'all are coping. It's like, what? You can't have it both ways.
Well, they gotta have it both ways, man, because we gotta understand the Money Felder gave a good analogy about this whole electoral fraud thing. He said, the reason why the media is jumping on it right now, because it's kind of like in football, right? Let's say that I was running an offensive play, and then you got defense, and let's say that defense was holding me on the play, keeping me from catching the ball, but the referee didn't catch it, right? So what you can do is you can kind of challenge that play. So you have ways you can challenge plays, but what happens is you have to challenge the play before the next snap. So what the Democrats are trying to do, at least we'll put them on offense right now. But what they're trying to do is snap the ball before we can challenge plays.
Facts.
So that's why they're trying to put this projected Biden, this and that, and coming out and trying to say, oh, there's no fraud, there's nothing, just so that we don't challenge the play. And they're trying to make sure that, or at least paint conservatives as conspiracy theories. I mean, literally all the headlines right now are conservatives are just fringe. Conspiracy theorists, everything, like as if nothing we brought up makes sense, right? So we brought up many stories. We saw what happened in Michigan, right? When they realized that they took away Trump's votes and gave
it was something like, what was it, like 6,000, something like that?
Yeah, 6,000 or something. But once again, if that can happen in one county, then what about the rest of the counties? And they don't want to go back and do an audit. And that's all we're asking for is if there is at least one irregularity, just just redo everything, not revote, but at least go back and check everything. Because if you use the same system, right, or if you had human error, we just want to make sure that it's done transparently and specifically with such high expectations. I'll say that
Yeah.
because there were
and and,
definitely high
and the
expectations.
thing is, man, is that I feel like the Democrats, or at least people who voted Democrat,
Mhm.
are they think that we're literally just butthurt on things like that. And first of all, for everyone who doesn't know, like, I'm not a Trump supporter. To be fair, I would definitely prefer Trump. I would prefer Trump than Biden, but I'm a third party voter, so whatever. But the thing is that all conservatives are really asking for is just like, look, there seems to be some irregularities. Anyone who says that there is like no evidence at all of irregularities or fraud, they are liars. They are straight liars. Look, if you wanted to say some shit like, look, all right, so there does seem to be some shit, but I don't know if it's substantiated yet. We kind of have to look for it. But to just flat out say, nah, there's nothing there. It's like you guys are sweeping shit under the rug. The only thing conservatives are asking for is, look, there's some irregularities. We just want we want them to look into this shit, right? And then after that, if Joe Biden is still the president, then conservatives accept it. It is what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's facts, man, and that's what people don't, or at least they fail to understand, is they think we're just sore losers and we don't want to accept a defeat. It's like, no, we want to make sure the defeat is just, is fair, and it's what we got, right? Because like you said, for people to come out here and just be like it's all pristine, yeah, that's just not happening. Specifically when we're talking 2016, they were talking about the whole Russian collusion and things like
Oh,
that.
they were heavy with that one. Heavy with that one.
Bro, it was so heavy that they tried to impeach him because of those things. Like, think about that.
Yo,
It's
for
like
his entire 4 years too.
entire 4 years. Like, so all we're saying is we have until about December 14th before the electors meet up and actually cast their official votes. So
Mhm.
what we're trying to do is make sure before we get to that point that every vote counts. Because if we can't trust the institutions at the highest level, then we're gonna have no faith and hope in the lower levels, and we never know how far and wide this corruption goes. And that's all we want to make sure is that as Americans, we don't want someone else to choose or elect our president for us. We want that power ourselves. And so this
Right.
is the transparency we calling for when we're trying to find or at least trying to pick out this fraud and everything else.
Yeah, and basically, like, I don't understand why they wouldn't support looking into this, just because, I mean, if it can happen, let's say that it is happening, just in the
Hmm.
hypothetical. If hypothetically it is happening definitively, and it's happening in, I don't know, the Democrats' favor, there's nothing really stopping that from next election it happening again and it being in the Republican favor. And they
Right.
definitely aren't gonna like that shit. So, like, anytime there's irregularities or, like, signs of voter fraud and stuff like that, something that could be widespread. And when I say widespread, I mean just not 1, 2, 3 votes. You're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of votes, right? So, like, in Detroit, Michigan. So let's talk about Detroit, Michigan, like, real quick. So there were poll watchers in Detroit, Michigan, and they reported, and this was on election night. So they reported at 4:30 a.m. 4:30 a.m. tens of thousands of ballots were brought in from out of state. And what was weird too, the poll watchers noticed, is that it was coming through like a different door. It's coming through like the back door instead of the
Right.
front. So it's like, well, that was weird. So it's like, okay. Not only that, when the watchers took a look through the ballots, they saw that they appeared to be all for Biden. Right, just
Right.
weirdly, like, all for Biden. And then another in Detroit. This was another poll watcher in Detroit. Ballots were scanned. They were legitimately scanned, and they did not match the voter in the electronic or the paper poll book, but they were permitted to be counted anyway. And so basically what that is when you submit a ballot, or when a ballot comes through and they have to verify it, the signature has to match, right? Signature has to match, the name has to match. And if it doesn't, then someone can just put through thousands, right? Literally, they were legitimately, you could have just picked a ballot up off of the floor with no signature and no whatever. Oh shit, that shit's Joe Biden. I'm not saying it had to be Joe Biden, but hey, you pick that up, Joe Biden, Trump, whatever it is, that shit counts. It is what it is, right? This shit is crazy, man. Like, we have sworn affidavits. We have like sworn affidavits from these poll watchers, from all of these people, and then Democrats are legitimately like, nah, nothing's happening, nothing to see here.
But I did see them start to move the goalpost a little bit, because now it's going from there's nothing happening to, well, it's not enough to affect the election. and you gotta watch what they say.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen that a lot of times, specifically with the article that came out today talking about how Pennsylvania, Trump actually won the lawsuit there, and so all the votes based on because the Secretary of State decided to, who is a Democrat by the way, which no one really likes her, but she decided to change the election rules 2 days prior to election day. So which is very sketchy on
Which she didn't
anything
even have
about.
the power to do anyway, right?
Now she had no statutory power or authority to do that. So which was of course settled in court today, and they proved that. So now all the ballots that because you had to provide an ID 6 days after election day, right, to verify that's your ballot and everything like that. So, but she added an extra 3 days to that, which she was not allowed to do. So now all the ballots that was after the ninth and people started to prove the identity or whatever, going to be cast out. And from what I've heard, it's in the thousands.
Right, it
And we
could be
already
thousands, right? And with people, and I feel like a lot of times Democrats especially, they don't understand, like they keep saying things like this. They're like, well, Biden was projected to have millions more than Trump, so just a couple thousand doesn't mean anything. It's like, do you not understand how this electoral process works, right? Like legitimately, when we're talking about counties, right, when these counties are adding these up, like some of them are within hundreds or thousands. Like a 2,000, 3,000 could make a difference. You know what I mean? And to say it doesn't means you have no idea about the electoral process.
Right. And so that's why I actually had a video about that on TikTok. One guy got into it. He was like, there's no way you can make up 5 million votes. I'm like, who's talking about the popular vote? Like,
right, exactly. Do you not remember 2016, buddy? So, like,
he literally won with 3 million vote difference between Hillary Clinton. So it's like, I don't understand. So obviously you're not even in the same, think tank as me, man. So but yeah, just to make that clear, when we're talking about what really makes the difference, we're talking about the small differences within the states themselves, because popular vote, once again, is heavily affected and influenced by California. Just put it out there, right? We literally probably can attribute 5 million margins to California alone, simply. So we're talking about electoral votes, and right now he's 50,000 in Pennsylvania. Difference in Georgia is like less than 20,000.
So hold on, are they recounting everything in Georgia? What are they doing?
Yep. They're absolutely recounting everything, and they're doing it by hand. So they're hand count. So they're not going back through any systems, which is, that's how they found
the entire state of Georgia.
It's the entire state of Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah, he came out and said that we got to do it this way, because once again, right, they changed their voting systems a lot of times. So they literally changed their voting system last year. Once again, right before elections, like all of these things changing, and you're seeing irregularities, and you're seeing some not glitches,
sketchy, bro, sketchy.
Some algorithm bumps and hiccups here, which we can talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, you're seeing some sketchy stuff that's gonna make you scratch your head and go like, okay, just to make sure everything's done fairly. And we just want to make sure that we want a fair election. So if you want a fair election, you gotta look into these things. And someone made a good point. That was like, man, when some people run companies and they get audited every quarter. It's like we have an election on a presidential level. We're talking millions of votes, and there's no automatic audit at all. It's just if there's evidence of fraud, then you can go back and audit.
Hold on, real quick. Just because I'm live streaming on TikTok, and I just want to verify. So everyone who's in the YouTube chat, can you let us know that you can hear both Topher and myself? I think that these I think my followers on TikTok, they're like, man, we can't hear them. And I'm like, well, that's because I got headphones on, so you can only hear me. You got to get into the podcast on YouTube. That's what I put on here. So I just want to make sure that people we can hear. Okay. So these people on my live, bro, they're just like, we can't hear them for some reason. You don't see the podcast, motherfuckers? Like, you don't see the damn headphones? Come on, bro. Like, you got to get into the John. The link is on my profile. But anyway, oh my goodness. Hey, I have some of the best followers. They are loyal followers, but I ain't say that they ain't slow. You know what I
mean? hey man, it's okay. That's why we're here, man, to get them up to speed, bro. But yes, make sure you come subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is why we created this, so you can have more room. Once again, YouTube does not have the 50 character limit, so you can actually put out your questions, your comments. We're not limited on time. We have a little bit more freedom to express things without it being controversial content and not live and shut down. Which that happened to me earlier today, bro. The funniest thing. I'm like, bro, you got
shut down again today, dude. Again. You are like one of the out of all the conservative podcasters, you are one of the people that really like. it's not even, I mean, I guess you talk about controversial content, but you really make sure that there isn't anything controversial in the way that you say it, that like there is no reason why your stuff should be shut down. My shit, we know that my shit would get shut down from time to time, right? But like, so it's always weird to me like when you get your video shut down.
Yeah, man. I used to say because I can't use because I'm black, man, because that doesn't work anymore. I think because I'm white, man. They say if you vote for Biden, then you ain't.
Oh, facts.
then you're white now. But no, man. It is what it is, and that's why I keep it going. Just right now, it'd be a good time to plug. Make sure you follow us both on. Are you on Parler?
Dude, is it Parler with an ER or OR? Because there's two of them.
ER.
It's ER?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I don't really know much about it. I heard someone told me that you can't even share videos on there, man.
Huh?
Can you share videos on there?
Bro, you can share YouTube videos.
Someone was telling me you couldn't share videos on there. They said it was just like Twitter, but you couldn't share videos.
No,
that's what they said.
I joined like in June. I can share videos over there, so I don't know what you're talking about. No,
Okay.
definitely you can share videos, you can share links, you can share whatever. Like I
Alright.
said, to me, it's just a better version of Twitter. But yeah, Andrew said, "Look, I'm not the only one." Yes, you can.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna get over there. All right, I'm gonna join Parler.
But yeah, apparently everyone keeps saying it's Parlay. Who cares? Look, man, they got an ER. It is Parler to me. But come over to Parler. MeWe is another site too, which is supposed to be the alternative to Facebook. And then we're talking about Clapper is the alternative to TikTok.
Dude,
and
like, yeah. So are you one of the largest? You got to be one of the largest creators over there, right?
yeah, I got 21,000 over there. I got to be, if not the largest.
And on Clapper, that's like God status, like 21K.
Yeah. So 21K, and then on top of that, if you want, I think there's one more. So I'm thinking, well, they haven't created an alternative for Instagram. So I guess that's it. So just
I have no
Clapper.
issues with Instagram. I feel like Instagram is pretty good. I get a fair amount of engagement on Instagram. I have like no issues there. And TikTok, I have no issues really with. I mean, sometimes you go through like the shadow banning, but the only big issue, man, is that TikTok's algorithm is good as far as who needs to see your video.
Yeah.
But if someone spam reports your video, shit gets taken down. And it's like they don't even verify this shit. Bro, let me tell you something. So for anybody who doesn't know. So a couple of days ago, this dude made a video about me, and he legitimately threatened me. Right? He was like, I'm gonna beat your ass. Right? He's like, I'm gonna beat you up. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, you want to come fly out to Vegas? I know you got that big boy money. Why don't you come fly out to Vegas? And he was defending some chick that apparently that I roasted. And I have no idea who the chick was. I got no idea.
Right.
Chicks that I roast are a dime a dozen. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna beat you up and blah, 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 blah. So what I did was I duetted that video, and I didn't even say a word. I said nothing. You know the little John that's like above your head, and if you smile, like the number goes up. You know that little filter?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so basically, I was just using that, and I was trying not to laugh like at his own video, and I shared it, and immediately gets flagged for like bullying and all this shit. Right? My shit gets taken down, but the original video, I didn't even say anything. The original video is still up there of talking about beating me up. This shit is wild, bro. Like TikTok doesn't know how to I don't get it. I just don't get it.
TikTok, my biggest issue is always, dude, they literally took down my Blana photo of me just
for what?
And they just said for eliciting bad goods or something like that.
What is that? Christmas? Is Christmas bad goods? What is that?
I guess because I had a pistol, bro. And it's crazy thing is I was.
Oh, bro, you could have mentioned that. I mean, that's probably gonna do it.
Man, dude, they have all kind of videos on there with people actually using guns, not even in like official ranges. Like I literally just had a gun, like in the proper, firearm discipline and everything. They didn't care, bro. They took.
I feel like if you are I feel like if you are just conservative and they know you're conservative instead of just like a gun channel shooting shit, I feel like you're just far more likely. I can't back that up with any credible resources. I'm just saying it feels that way.
Nah, man, feelings count, bro. So if you feel that way, man,
to the Democrats especially, feelings count, bro.
if you feel that way,
feelings
man,
trump facts.
Then go do it, man. But no, so seriously, bro, let's keep it going, man. So what about?
Yeah, man, facts.
I heard about what's his name, Richard Hopkins, the guy out of Pennsylvania, who literally said that the postmaster told him to postmark some of the mails that came in late to the November 3rd when they came in after November 3rd. So that's very interesting. Of course, at first they came out and said that he recanted his story, and that blew up. I think that was on Washington Post and a couple other articles, and which was false, right? He even made a video himself saying, like on Twitter, which got spread around, like, I never recanted my story. But they're quick to say these things to go ahead and discredit everybody that's coming out, right? So it's funny that everyone understands how what it means and what it looks like to discredit a witness, right? Everyone knows what that looks like. But now when we have people who's trying to testify, which once again they have sworn affidavits about the things they have seen, it's all of a sudden like, oh, you shouldn't trust them, and but yeah, they try to downplay it, say even if uh that was true, it was only like a couple votes from that county or district that happened, at least from that district for where he was doing the mail. So I'm just like, yeah. I'm
Have you seen the Twitter thing when you say anything about voter fraud? Have you seen what it links you to?
all talk about the rarity of voter fraud.
Bro. I got it. I think I can share it right here. I think I can share it. So check this out. So anytime that something happens and it's really about voter fraud or whatever, let me go ahead and share this screen. All right, share. And let's go to here. Let's go to Donald Trump. Let's go to good old Donald Trump.
Oh yeah,
All right.
that thing. Yeah.
Okay, so anytime, it doesn't matter if it's because sometimes there's like legitimate claims and they'll show you, it's like, look, this seems to be like an irregularity. This could be leading into voter fraud. Like, just take a look at this. This is a claim, and basically, this is what you will always be linked to every time. You'll be linked to this, no matter what it is. No matter if you're specifically talking about the 6,000 votes that's in Michigan, no matter what it is, right? It'll link you to this.
Yeah.
And this is what it says. It says, with ballot counting continuing and the presidential race being called for Joe Biden, experts and officials say there has been no evidence of widespread voter fraud in 2020 election. Oh, well, I guess if they say it, then it couldn't happen, right? They even come down here to where it says, officials and experts warn that the most interference in U.S. elections, whether from foreign or domestic players, comes in the form of misinformation campaigns, many of which are intended to create distrust in the U.S. electoral process, and also that it is incredibly rare.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
They're talking about that it's incredibly rare, and that's their answer to every single claim. Every claim.
Once again, not once did they say it wasn't possible. It's just rare. It's like,
right. It's like, well, how does that refute like this claim specifically? All you're saying is that it's rare, and officials have said that it doesn't really seem to be going on. The fuck is that?
Bro, I told someone today. I said, yeah, don't tell me the officials are saying they're finding no widespread fraud. I said it's almost like when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me to go get a switch out the yard. I said because I understood.
Oh man, you definitely grew up in that black household, bro.
I understood that I had invested. I had a vested interest in making sure I didn't find any switches. Right.
Right.
So they have a vested interest in not finding any fraud. At the same time, if I did find a switch, I made sure I got the weakest one. So if they do find one, they're gonna make sure it's the weakest, and they're gonna keep ignoring everything else. So yeah, the officials that's in charge of the process, you're gonna trust that they're telling you the truth, as if their jobs are not on the line, as if their credibility is not.
And they're
on
not
the
even
line.
specifically talking about like what officials. They just generalize everything.
Yep.
It's like, oh well, officials and experts. Okay, well, who are these people? like give me some names. You know what I mean? Like where are the sources? Why are they saying that it's not happening? Like, look, when you're just telling us that voter fraud is rare, I would sit here and I would agree with that shit. I'd be like, I'm sure it is rare. Right? But we're talking about specific instances. Is this shit not happening? And because it is rare, that's why it's a story, people. Like, that's why it's a story.
Absolutely.
It's wild, bro. It's just wild.
It's ridiculous, man. And that's why I always tell people too, it's like, so, but when we present our experts, oh, they're discredited. It's like, I wish we could discredit your experts, but you never name your experts.
Exactly, bro.
Random people, man.
Right. We can't even discredit your experts because we don't know who they are.
Just a pool of people, right?
Right.
I was actually reading this article by AP News that just came out and just said the exact same thing. Experts and officials across the board that came out once again and said there's no indication of fraud. Literally, they just published this like less than an hour ago, and so I'm just like, man, that's crazy, man. I'm still looking for a name. All I see is just
Dude,
group
and you
of
know what's
people.
messed up? What's messed up about that is that I always, on just about every video, every live that I've ever done, where they ask me, it's like, Tyler, like, where do you go for like unbiased, highly factual news? And almost every single time I'd be like, yo, you got to go to AP News, Associated
Yeah,
Press News. They're always legit. But bro, these last like week or two, where they are jumping into like this like propaganda, and I have seen articles where they are just blatantly like going after Trump and not remaining neutral. They're not even talking about like facts anymore. They're putting like their own feelings of whoever the hell was writing that article in there. And so like even places like AP News. I mean, you've seen that like Fox News is getting dragged right now, right, by
right.
conservatives.
Hmm.
You seen that?
Everybody's switching over to Newsmax because of their just. Well, to be fair, man, they actually came out and apologized for their poor handling
They
of the
kind of
election.
apologized. I mean, they kind of did.
Well, I'm just saying they did something. They at least admitted that something was wrong.
Yeah, I'm sure they did once they saw that their viewers were leaving. I'm sure that happened. Dude, I looked into it. So like Newsmax is where like a lot of conservatives are going. So many conservatives are pissed off at Fox News for really I think two things. One, that they were projecting that the House was going to get like more seats or something by the Democrats, and they didn't. Like actually, like Republicans like got more seats, so they miscalculated that projection was wrong. But not only that, but they also jumped into that whole, oh no, Arizona is Biden's, right? Completely
Oh,
prematurely.
yep.
Completely prematurely, right? Like
Hmm.
Arizona is Biden's, and now we know that shit is not. Like we know that shit is not. So Newsmax, if you just to put this into perspective, they used to get like 60 something thousand viewers in like any given day. On November 10th, right? On November 10th, when people had enough of Fox, their shit went up to 437,000 views, bro. This is
Jeez.
wild, bro. People are
That's
flooding Newsmax.
the I just want to read this headline from Rolling Stone about everyone flooding to Newsmax and Parler and everything else. The Great Migration, as they call it, right? So they said free speech social media apps are see enormous growth after the election as Twitter and Facebook crack down on misinformation. See what they said? As they
Mm-hmm.
crack down on misinformation, many on the right are joining smaller sites like Parler and MeWe, creating echo chambers of extremist ideas. Bro, they are labeling us just like it's bad, bro.
So hold on, they're
Um,
labeling social media right wing or like extremist?
yeah, they're labeling the Parler and everything else like echo chambers, extremists, everything,
Bro,
bro.
why does it have to be an echo chamber? Why does it have to be extremist if it's just more free speech? It's not like no one could like plenty of left-wing people or leftists can join. It's
Yeah,
just that like we see as conservatives that we are clearly censored on all these other social medias. So here's a social media that doesn't censor, and we're
yeah,
still like, yo, if y'all want to come over here, let's go. Yeah, I mean, but like if we're the only ones going there, that doesn't make it that. It's just that like, well, leftists just haven't joined. They want to stay like cozy and warm in their Instagram and their TikTok and their whatever because they're always backed up by
yeah,
by those companies, man. Oh,
yeah.
one thing that I did want to answer just real quick is this person said, is
Oh,
Newsmax bias? Newsmax is bias. So just as well, the same bias that you would say Fox is. It's a conservative network. So yes, they do have bias. I think I looked it up on a media bias check, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it said that their news was like mixed. I don't think that it said that it was high. I think it said it was mixed, which is kind of like how Fox News and CNN were. I would say if you're going to go over to Newsmax just for some conservative news, I would say just take it with a grain of salt. I'm sure that they have some facts in there, and more so, they're just going to give you the headline of like, more recent news. But I would take it with a grain of salt, and I would make sure that you verify it on other, more unbiased, highly factual sites.
right. Yeah. I haven't looked or tuned into Newsmax myself, so I couldn't tell you guys. But
I didn't even hear about it until this whole thing happened.
once again, it's free too. I think on what like Roku and stuff like that.
Oh snap!
I think I'm not sure. Don't quote me. But I have not heard about it, and if it's a good source, please by all means use it. But at the same time, I always tell everybody understand and recognize bias. And everyone thinks that just because you have a bias, then that debunks and you should be trusted.
No,
I'm like,
that's
bro,
wrong. That's wrong.
that's dumb, right? It's like no, It's just that when you hear it, you may want to one verify through an alternative source, or two understand what language is loaded language, because a lot of bias comes from the loaded language. And sometimes when you hear stuff like um joyous Trump supporters go in and so when
Right.
you hear stuff with just
Right.
like that puff it up and just make someone
Right.
look extremely evil.
It's almost like subliminal too. You almost don't even realize it.
Yeah,
Right. It's just, but yeah, they'll use some loaded words that kind of sway you, or not sway you, but just loaded words to kind of, well, I guess like sway you more on that conservative side or sway you more on that liberal side. But just because something is biased, like Topher and I are clearly biased, right? We're clearly conservatives, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that we're not reporting the facts to you, right? Bias has nothing to do with facts, right? We can go ahead and report the facts to you. And then when we go ahead and analyze those facts, then our bias may come into play. It's like, well, look, this is why I think it's either anti-conservative or anti-liberty or anti-American or whatever, but that has nothing to do with facts. Bias has nothing to do with facts.
facts. I like facts, facts on facts on facts. Yeah, man. But yeah, dog. So someone real quick, someone said well, before we get off AP News, Newsmax. They say you can watch Newsmax free on their website or on the app. So
Oh,
there you go,
nice.
guys. You can watch that for free.
I'm gonna check it
Uh,
out.
yeah, I guess I got to check it out now. If it's free, you know what I'm
Dude,
saying?
can we talk about Nevada real quick before you go into your John?
Yeah, go ahead.
I need to bring it up. I need to bring it up. So check this out. So
Go ahead.
for anyone who doesn't know, Trump is also filing lawsuits in Nevada. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I was corrected. It's not supposed to be Nevada. It's Nevada. So
Nevada,
they are filing law. Yeah, people that live in Nevada, they hate that shit apparently. So no disrespect, no disrespect. So yeah, they're filing lawsuits in Nevada because the signature confirming machines weren't working. So check this out. In most of Nevada apparently. So when you put through these ballots, there's a signature. I think I touched on this earlier. There's a signature confirming machine, right? So the signature has to be there. However, in the state of Nevada, and it seems like in most places in Nevada, even Clark County, I think is what it's called, where Las Vegas is, and so on and so forth. The machines either weren't working or weren't on because they were not used. So they were not used. So basically, that means that when you put through a vote, there's a machine that verifies the ballot holder signature. Now, this also means that if the machine isn't working, then someone could potentially just vote for any candidate like 1,000 times. You know what I mean? Now, that doesn't mean that they have, but it means that the potential is there because there's nothing stopping them from doing it. We're supposed to have these I don't know. We're supposed to have just like these structures in place to make sure to limit fraud. And when you're just opening the floodgates and saying, "Oh, we're not just going to use this or whatever, or we're not going to report it or whatever that's going to happen," either way, these ballots made it through. And you're talking about in Nevada, millions of ballots have gone through when the machines were not working. Now, again, I want to say that does not mean that everyone was committing fraud or everyone was putting through 1 million plus, ballots for that person. What I'm saying is that this is another thing that has to be looked at. And apparently the quote unquote experts are saying that as far as Trump's lawsuits, he could legitimately win this one because they were just putting through thousands, if not millions of ballots that were not even, they weren't confirmed at all. These signatures weren't confirmed.
Right. And that's what I was talking about. It kind of ties back to the Pennsylvania thing. Like the identity was not confirmed for these casted ballots, so you can't count them. That's just
Right.
how it worked out, man. But someone just said this real quick. We should revote in the swing states, and the military should count the votes. So the problem with revote is people die, people get sick, people become incapacitated since election day. So a revote won't be accurate either, and it might not even swing in our favor. It may swing in the opposite side because of some things go down. Same thing with COVID and everything else. And I know you ain't about to tell people to go back and mail their ballots in because that's gonna be another thing we're gonna have to wait for. So revote is just not plausible. But unfortunately we just gotta fight for what we have now, and which I think we have a lot going for ourselves. Specifically, and if we're talking about the algorithm that Dr. Shiva Ayudari pointed out in his recent video, which I think caused a crash on YouTube, right? I was telling Tyler about this earlier. I think that's what caused YouTube to go like, nope, y'all are not about to share this information. I see a lot of traffic, and they're really trying to censor us. And we saw what happened with Twitter with the whole joke was a Hunter Biden thing, and Twitter all of a sudden crashed that one time. And it's like, oh man, every time when something huge come out, that's gonna be detrimental to the left, right? But yeah, he put out a presentation explaining the numbers at these precincts, right? So in Michigan, so there's two ways to vote, right? Straight party ticket and individual. So you can go for vote for individual candidate, or you can just vote straight down the line, whichever way you want to vote. So he explained everything. He have a couple other software engineers, and just a little background. Dr. Shiva Ayadere is the guy who's credited to inventing email at the young age of 14. By the way,
So
the
basically,
dude
genius.
genius,
Yeah.
genius guy, software engineer. So when we're talking about algorithms, you can't get
Right. He
more.
knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about. And he did this presentation with two other software engineers that backed up everything he was saying. And for those of you who need equal representation, one of the other guys was a black guy, by the way. So just to put that out there, and if that puts you at ease, so you won't think it's just white, no white guys out here. And by the way, Dr. Shiva is Indian; he's not even white. So anyway, so he put the presentation in after he showed the results of the votes that was tallied and the results from those precincts. Man, once you line them up on a graph, which I wish I could show it up here, but once you line it up on a graph, it showed that in Republican heavy precincts and districts, right, where people were voting, around 20% everything was normal, and then right after 20% it took a straight nosedive slope, which just was abnormal. It doesn't happen, right?
Downwards.
Just downwards.
Mm.
So for instance, right? So let's say the x-axis is to the left, at 0% is least Republican, and to the right, far as right, you got more Republican, right?
Okay, so when you're talking about percentages, you're talking about like what percentage of those counties
Yeah.
were like Republican?
What percentage of that precinct was Republican?
The precinct. Okay.
Yeah. So, or district, whatever it's in. So,
Yeah.
is it heavy Republican in that area, or is it heavy Democrat? So, wherever that precinct lies, you can tell on the x-axis how heavy it was. So from x-axis from left to right, so left is least Republican, and right is more Republican. Now, the y-axis going up and down determined if it was above the central line, then you was more favored to vote for Trump, and then if it was below it, then you were favored to not vote for Trump. What was interesting though is when you saw the graph and the more Republican it got, and these was in two separate district, two separate counties, by the way. The more Republican it got, the less likely they was like to vote for Trump. The least like they
Which
were
really
to
makes
vote
no
for Trump.
sense, right?
Makes
Because
no sense.
I feel like we can now. That doesn't mean that every Republican is going to vote for Trump, but most Republicans are going to vote for Trump, just as most Democrats are going to vote for Biden, right? So,
But
just in the general sense, to me, it would not make really any sense that if it's more Republican, why would it be less votes for Trump?
just a logical question, man. And then Mitt Romney tried to point old Mitt
Unless they're
the Rhino.
rhinos.
Yes, old Mitt the Rhino he came back and said, well, maybe it's just a lot of Republicans were fed up with Trump, and I say no, there's no way. You're talking anomaly of Republicans just rejecting Trump. That's not happening,
Right.
bro. Like,
Right.
because the funny thing was you didn't see too many Democrats defecting, right? And so when you saw at the Democrat where the precincts were heavily Democrat, you didn't see such a slope, right? You didn't see a slope like that at all. You saw an actual natural line and a graph that would represent what it should look like. You know what I'm saying? Evenly across, and you kind of can draw a little straight line there. But anytime you have two separate counties, and literally at 25% every time on both of these counties, it just went straight down. It's almost like you input an algorithm, right? If I had a formula, if I was doing a slope intercept form, and I could put in something for X, and all of a sudden it just goes like that's what you saw, right? Or Y, because it's not, we're talking about the Y going down.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what it looked like. He pointed that out, and so he presented this information. He answered a lot of the questions that people have. So if you haven't seen the video, go watch it. It's about 70 minutes long. But when people talk about who do you have presenting this information, I'm like, dude, we have some genius people, and he did
Right.
this not even from a bias standpoint. He was just saying like from a data analysis standpoint.
Right.
Like,
He's just like, this doesn't compute. This doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense.
it's
Like,
like,
it makes no
is
sense.
this is I would say this is impossible. There's
Right,
no-
right. When you got the geniuses, like the legitimate geniuses, and I'm not saying that they have to be right, but when you have
Yeah.
like the legitimate geniuses are like, this shit is impossible, like at the very least, I would listen to what they had to say.
Right. And that's what
You,
he wants. That's all he's calling for. He said, "Hey, I want to present this information to court, to the Biden or Trump, whoever. I just want to present the information and let you do with it what you will." But I think the Trump campaign reached out to him. I think he linking up with some court cases over there
oh,
in
nice.
Michigan. But
Topher, what do you think about this, man? So Shaylin says we just got to throw the whole election out, send all the libs to California, let that shit float out to the ocean, and go about our day.
row your boat gently down
Down
the
the stream.
stream, merrily.
You know what I mean? And you know what? I don't even know if they would really combat that. I mean, they could be their own separate little country or whatever. You know what I mean?
I mean, they had Chaz, so why not? I think
Facts,
everyone.
yeah. Chaz that became Chop.
The autonomous zone. I mean, for all means, I wouldn't mind. California's doing that anyway, so they might well just become their own little thing, and they'll definitely they'll go quietly into the night. We won't hear from them. I promise you they will. It's like,
well, at least until shit starts popping off, and then they're gonna migrate. You know that they're migrating to like Texas right now because of what, like all the shit going on with taxes and stuff like that. It's like,
yeah.
bro, just stay over there. Like all the like the conservative Texans are all like, hey, we stop trying to make our state blue. This is a red state.
Yeah. I told people it's not as purple as they try to make it out to be. It did kind of look iffy in the beginning, I will say that, but towards the end, of course, we pulled through. I was like, yes, because we don't need Texas to go blue, not at all, because I feel like Texas, it represents the heart of America. It's like,
yeah.
So if Texas goes blue, that's it, man.
I mean, I'm gonna be fair though. Like, Florida's a better state. Florida's pretty much the littest state. Hey, if you ain't been to, bro, aren't you closer to Florida than you are to Texas anyway?
Nah, bro, I'm 8 hours from Texas.
How far are you? How far are you from Florida?
Florida, man, it's like 12, 13 hours.
Oh man, yeah, I guess. Yeah,
I gotta take 10. I think take 10 and go around the bottom.
You gotta go to Florida, man. That's where it's at, bro.
Everything. I got nothing against Florida, man. Florida's nice. It's just that, man, y'all get hurricanes and y'all just
bro. But you talking about like 2 months out of the year, you got hurricane season. That's it, bro. Other than that, you talking about perfect weather, man.
Bro, we're talking about dust storms in Texas. you're talking about freaking tropical storms.
Bruh. Anybody who grew up in Florida, we knew like hurricanes, they ain't shit. They ain't shit, man. You just get some shutters. Yeah, I mean, dude, we had like one of our houses like basically blow away, and we just kind of walk that shit off. You know what I mean? Kind of walk it off. But yo, real quick, one last thing that I want to say. I wanted to bring this up just because I feel like I don't know if Trump is capping with this one. Trump may be capping. So Trump is claiming that 2.7 million votes, 2.7 million, for him were deleted by the system that most of these states are using to count
Dominion, by the way.
It's Dominion voting system. So he is claiming that 2.7 million votes. Now this is the same system that had the verified 6,000 or so error in Michigan, in that Michigan county, but that was verified.
Yep.
So it's the same system. But he's claiming that 2.7 million of these votes were deleted, that basically some of them went to Biden and they were supposed to go to Trump, but basically 2.7 million votes. That's what he's claiming. Now, I haven't seen this substantiated anywhere, so if you come across this, as of right now, it seems to be not substantiated, unsubstantiated. However, that does not mean that it is wrong. I'm assuming that he is talking to somebody. However, I do find it weird that we don't have like any other info on it. It's just Trump's claim that 2.7 million votes are for him. Could be legit, could not be legit, but as of right now, it's unsubstantiated.
Right, it's a claim, right? And like I feel like if there's a claim, it should be investigated and see what kind of proof. I think it should be proven in the court of law. And I feel like this election will come down to the Supreme Court. I think ultimately it will. But let's talk about worst case scenario since we're talking about that. Well, before that, I would just want one more opinion on that. I'm based on the algorithm, based on the data analysis from Dr. Shiva. I think that's kind of plausible as far as like trading those votes, right?
You're talking about what, that Trump could win the election?
That Trump, some of his votes were deleted or given to Biden across the board, right? So as far as a worst case scenario, so what happens if we cannot determine based on votes who won, right? Next step is it goes to what? I thought you knew my bad.
I thought I thought it was like a rhetorical question.
Okay, the way you was looking was like, oh my bad. I was trying to throw you one, but whatever. You suck at alley oops. But anyway,
My
man.
bad,
So
man. I'm 5'7", man. We don't do alley oops, bro.
so anyway, pretty much what happens is it goes to the courts, and what happened is the governors in each state or whatever electors they get one electoral vote, and then those states will have to then cast their one electoral vote for who they think they want to be president, right?
Mm.
And then therefore, Trump, fair enough, won a lot more states, right? So then you would see some of that go down. So you would see Trump probably turn around and win the election based off that. Now, so I'm curious to see if that works or if that's how it gets to because we can't come to a general consensus that this election or that Trump lost or if he concedes without which I doubt he concedes
Nah, he'll
without
never do
real
that, bro. He'll
evidence.
never do.
Right.
He'll never do
So
that.
so he'll never concede without full investigation. But so we'll see, man. So we may get a president that way. It is there is plausible. It is in the Constitution. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What you think, man? You think we get to that point, or you think we're gonna find some?
I don't know, man. Like I really, for me to really give my full opinion on this, man, I really have to see like substantiated evidence. Like as of right now, I see a lot of claims and I see things that look like, oh well, those are some irregularities and a couple things that are solidified, like the 6,000 voter thing in Michigan and some of these other things. But and we do have some sworn affidavits, so I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go yet. I think it could go kind of either way. I think it could maybe go in Trump's favor, and we could get to that point. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll shut it down. I got no idea. I don't even put anything past the mainstream media just pressuring anybody to do anything anymore anyway. So I'm not certain, man. I'm uncertain. I'm indifferent.
Yeah, man. I just want a fair election, man.
I want Trump to win, though. I want to be clear. I'm not a Trump supporter. I want Trump to win. And the reason why I want Trump to win is solely based off the fact that I need more liberal tier memes. Like the memes that I have currently are stale, they're old, they're from 2016, 2017, right? We need some new we need some new memes, right? And can you imagine, especially after all of this shit, can you imagine the glorious memes that will start coming across your Instagram, bro? I mean, shit
Yeah.
we never seen before.
Yeah, so I'm prepared for that because they've been out celebrating, beating up freaking Trump mannequins and everything else, and air balloons and just
There's
going
so
at
many
it,
people
right?
on social media, especially on TikTok. Have you seen all these people on TikTok, bro, that are literally just like, oh, come on, Biden won, y'all are criers. Bro, I just want Trump to win so badly. I legitimately have like 15 accounts that I could just dunk on every single. I just put them all in one 60-second clip and tag all of them. Tag all
But
of
the
them.
thing is, they make it seem like it's not possible. And I'm like, bro, like it's seriously possible. If Nevada ends up being turned over, or Georgia ends up being turned over, I mean Michigan or Pennsylvania, man, it's not that
I
many
think I
states.
think when I looked at it, if I'm not mistaken, if you know the correct answer, you might be able to correct me. But
Yeah.
I thought that it was only two states really. Well, like fair state, like not two states because each state has like different electoral votes. But
Yeah.
like I think if Trump had like two of these states that were like battleground states that could have gone either way, if
Mhm.
Trump had flipped two of them, I think that would have meant that he won. If I was
There'll
looking
be
at him.
Pennsylvania and Arizona.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and if he did, then that election, Biden lost. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I'm not saying that it's entirely probable. I'm just saying that it is definitely possible. And yeah, like just let us go through with this shit. Yeah, y'all motherfuckers were going after this man for this fucking Russia collusion for like 3+ years, wasting all kinds of tax dollars. Legitimately, the only thing we're asking for is a couple weeks. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, like a week or two, something. Like we got to dig
Yeah.
into this shit a little bit. You know what I mean?
Just a little bit, man. And speaking of liberal tears, man, I was watching your video of the debate you had, man.
Oh, with
And
the chick.
and to be fair, bro, I did not expect to be taking a bath or a shower while watching that video, man. But that definitely was that definitely was a shower after watching that video, man.
Bro,
What
so
happened? I didn't even know that you was debating this chick. This was like one of those spontaneous debates
it
that you
was. It
just
was
did.
spontaneous. It was 100% spontaneous. So basically, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's on my Instagram at Tyler Bluntman. You could see it. It's a couple videos back. But basically, there was this chick. I was in someone's live on TikTok, and they were having like these Omegle debates, and they were debating this pro-choice chick. She's like 18, and she was from the UK. She was debating abortion, and she was kind of having, you know, a fair amount of points, and she was going after this dude. And I was like, dude, I'd like to debate her. And she willingly gave out her Instagram to everyone. Was like, yo, if you want to have a discussion, whatever. So immediately after that live ended, I shot her a DM, and I was like, yo, so, you know, I'm willing to have this conversation with you. You know, you want to have a conversation on abortion? And she was like, yeah, sure. I was like, bet. I mean, we could do it right now if you're ready. And she's just like, well, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So she comes on, and we talk about abortion. Bro, first of all, I think within like 10 minutes, she's telling me to like fuck off or something. She's telling me to shut the fuck up or whatever. So, matter of fact, let me play I can play a clip. Let me play a clip real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and show everybody who hasn't seen it. Let's go ahead and play a quick clip from my Instagram. All right. So this is like how it starts off. Come on. Trying to hit it won't let me hit the damn the thing on here. You see like right down here where like the audio is?
I see it.
It won't let me hit the audio, man. Why you messing with me?
The definition of a fetus.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Sounds.
Can you read that? Can you read that on your computer right now? What's the definition of a fetus?
Can you hear it?
Is a fucking brilliant that anyway. Jesus Christ. So
you don't know the definition of a fetus?
Literally, I do religious. Right, okay. A fetus is a clump of cells, that of which would.
What is a fetus? What is a definition of a fetus? That's what I'm asking.
I was about to tell you, if you'd shut the fuck up so I can.
Why are you such a Karen?
Right.
Why are you a Karen?
I am being respectful.
Why are you being like you're being a crumpet Karen right now? A fetus is an unborn human baby more than 8 weeks after conception. That's definitionally what a fetus is. Basically, my point is that you don't know what you're talking about when you say it's not a baby, especially when you're referring to it as a fetus, because a fetus is just an unborn baby.
All right, so that was the beginning of it. Then
I don't want to do this if this is going to cause incredible emotional distress to you. So are you emotionally capable of having this conversation?
Yes. Okay.
Are you sure? Because I don't want to go ahead and like contribute to you hyperventilating. So if you're not able to have this conversation, then that's fine. You're not able to have this conversation.
I do have an argument. What I'm trying to explain to you is that you're trying to have an opinionative and a morality.
I heard what you said. I already heard what you said. So but it's not opinionative, because I was just asking you to define what your contention was. So you used it as an argument. I didn't use clump of cells as an argument. You said that it was a clump of cells. I asked you to define what clump of cells was. You could not give me that answer. You said, okay, well, that's a matter of opinion. Okay, so tell me exactly when it's no longer a clump of cells.
So that's basically it, man. So she definitely got super emotional. I was confused when it happened. Like, I was not expecting the tears to come, and I am not making fun of her for crying. I'm just saying she did in fact cry, and I was legitimately confused. Like, I did not understand that, especially, and then for the whole thing, I don't even feel bad about it, because like just how she handled it afterwards, and I'll tell you what happened for everyone who didn't know. So what I just didn't understand is, in this debate, if you go ahead and watch it, it's on my Instagram at Tyler Bluntman. We had this debate on abortion. She calls me an asshole. She tells me to shut the fuck up. She what else does she? She called me a cunt. Yeah, yep. She called me the C word. She called me a cunt. All these different things, and then tried to make herself to be like this victim, and that like I was contributing to her. And I was just like, I'm just asking you questions. You know what I mean? I didn't insult her one time. The only insult that you saw, if you call it an insult, was me calling her a crumpet Karen. I call her a crumpet Karen because she's from the UK. They eat crumpets. So like I called her a crumpet Karen. But in my defense, I only said that after she told me to shut the fuck up. Right? So like it was so weird. So then anyway, so the debate ends. Clearly didn't go her way. And so immediately after, she reaches out to me, and she says that she doesn't want me to post the video. Well, first of all, it was a public discussion on Instagram, and unfortunately, that video is going to be aired. I'm sorry that it didn't go your way. It is what it is. Sorry. So anyway, so she reaches out on her Instagram, on her Snapchat to all of her friends and whatever. And I only know this because some of her people, I guess, follow me or have mutual friends. So they sent me like screenshots and DMs and all this shit. And she was telling her fans to go and mass report my accounts, not even just my Instagram. They're like, you got to mass report this guy. Report him on Instagram, report him on TikTok, report him on YouTube, everywhere, right? Just mass report me. That shit was wild, bro. She legitimately was trying to cancel me just because a discussion, a debate, whatever, didn't go her way. This is legitimate fascism, people. These people are the same people that claim to be or that claim to support Antifa, which is anti-fascist. These motherfuckers love fascism. They love it. They are so fascist, man. And so the whole thing was absolutely weird. I have another debate with this chick coming up in a couple of days. That was crazy, even to try and get her to come over there. It was wild. I'm hoping not to add another chick to my roster of crying. I think that she probably is going to handle it better. But we're going to be discussing abortion. So I called out this dude. His name is Lee with no name on TikTok. And I find the dude to be an absolute fucking fraud. I find him to be just a guy. He's got over 300,000 followers. And the reason why I say he's a fraud isn't just because of what he's talking about, which is just leftist propaganda bullshit. But the fact that I think that he's a fraud is because, okay, I reached out to him and I said, hey, debate me. That's it. It's literally my words. Debate me. Right? Didn't say anything negative or anything. Just debate me. Right? And he's like, he comes back with a video reply to my comment and is like, we're not in high school. I don't feel the need to debate you. I'm not running as a politician. I'm like, the fuck does that have to do with anything? The hell does a politician have to do anything? You have 300,000 followers, bro. Obviously, you're in a position of influence. I think that you are spreading bullshit. I am saying, hey, you're saying this. I'm saying that shit is legitimately wrong. I am challenging you to back up what you're saying, right? I feel that people, once you get to a certain stage, and you and I are both always open to having conversations with people. I mean, I'd even say that you've probably had more conversations with people than I have because you do it on Instagram all the time. But like, I feel like you're almost obligated, not to every person that reaches out to you, every, Tom, Dick, and Harry or whatever, but you know what I mean? But to other prominent creators that, aren't being like a super dickhead about it and are just like, just debate me about it. Just let's have a conversation. You know what I mean? Just to say, no, I want to stay in my echo chamber. I want to stay talking to my camera. You know what I mean? I don't want to be challenged. I don't want anybody to challenge what I'm saying. I just want to keep staying in this echo chamber and talking to my own fans. Like, I find that to just be completely, like, fraud. You know what I mean? Like, you just a fraud, bro. So, but anyway, just to answer your question, because I kind of, it took me a while to answer. But anyway, this chick, Victoria, she saw that. Apparently she wanted to like save this dude, Lee. And I don't know, she's a friend of his or whatever. She's like, oh, well, Tyler, I'm a woman. So because I'm a woman, my opinion matters more on abortion. She's one of those people. She believes that men's opinions, while she doesn't completely invalidate them, she thinks that our opinion when it comes to abortion is just far less credible. So, so she said that she was going to go ahead and do it. We had some back and forth that I don't even want to get into, but we are going to have a debate on Instagram this Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. You can come on my Instagram to see it at Tyler Bluntman. It should definitely be interesting. She has never had a debate before in her life. So we're going to see how that plays out.
Oh, Victoria. Well, she won't come out the victor. I tell her that, man. 'Cause, now with this blunt man over here,
I wouldn't. I mean, hey, if I was a betting man and I knew about both parties, I mean, I wouldn't bet on her. But hey, man, maybe she will bring up some crazy shit that I've never heard of before. And you know what? Maybe she turns me into pro-choice right there live on the stream.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I see people having all kind of healthcare debates in the comment section. I guess we got one radical in here who doesn't understand healthcare at all.
What are they talking? They're talking about healthcare?
Man, this dude gonna say, you realize also having Medicare for all will encourage entrepreneurship and make starting businesses so much easier because you would not have to provide healthcare for employees. let's just put this out here. Even in Canada, guys, y'all gotta remember this. The public health care plan does not cover everything. There's literally supplemental plans provided by businesses, jobs, and everything else because it does not cover everything. And the sad part is your taxes are covering that anyway, and your taxes still aren't enough to cover the health care. You still have to get supplemental insurance. So this idea that businesses is going to spur jobs and everything else, it's not going to do that, man. It's just not. So we are not prepared for that in America, and I'd rather have the 90% of what we have patents and innovation that we have in America due to privatized healthcare and having to be a little bit more free market than I would do with anything universal. And also, I'll tell people this: you don't even need government's help to help provide healthcare for people. If you want that option, by all means, get all the rich people that's complaining about it, tell them put some money aside and help pay for these things for these people. Why don't you go do it yourselves without government assistance? Because this is what they're going to do anyway. They're taxing you, right? They're taxing you. All they're doing is taking some money from you, and then they're just providing it to something else. But at the same time, they create these contracts. Why don't you just create these private contracts with these companies and get the
Yeah,
money yourself? But they don't want to do that because they just want to seem like they're helping people without really.
it's virtue signaling, bro. It's all
Right,
virtue
right.
signaling, bro.
It's virtue signaling at this point, man.
And when they and even when they talk about it, like anytime that, and I'm not like incredibly knowledgeable on all the health, I'm like a strict constitutionalist, so my thing is just like get it out of the federal government. Healthcare shouldn't be federal. Leave it to each state to kind of decide what they're gonna do.
Right.
I would probably favor that, just allow private businesses or private healthcare providers to kind of do their thing. Like if there's a healthcare provider in Alabama that I want and they're willing to give it to me, the government shouldn't be like, nah, you can't get that shit because you live in PA.
Exactly.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Let us do our thing. If you still want to have your quote unquote universal or whatever, or you can sign up for it, okay, sure, whatever. But like let kind of businesses do their thing. But yeah, man, like I don't know. I just don't understand this whole thing of just always having to rely on the government to fix problems. I just don't get it. It's like anytime a Democrat or anyone on the political left, I mean, unless you're like straight into like communism or whatever, but anytime that you're like on the political left, I mean, even so, I would say they talk about government a lot. Like and say, oh, well, universal and all this stuff. You got to pay these taxes for this and this and this. Like, why? Like, why do I have to pay that shit? Like I don't get it. Like my whole thing is that so like I gotta pay for my neighbor's kids to like go to school. Why the fuck do I have to pay that shit? Like, you know what I mean? I should be able to say where my taxes go for at least most things. You know what I mean? I believe that taxes should really go to military, to court systems, to police, and to prisons. I believe that that's where they should go almost in entirety. Right. There may
Right.
be a couple other little things that I may support, like here and there, and I'll take them as, in a case by case. But mostly, that's where I think taxation should go. Right. Everything else, like, look, it's not my fucking job to send your kids to school. I'm sorry, man. I mean,
Right.
that's your job as a parent. You know,
No, man, Tyler. Tyler, look, man, you just been selfish, bro. Come on, man. You've been a selfish person. You're
this
not
is not
looking
my
out for other
job,
people.
bro. I don't even like kids, bro. I mean, I'm sure I'd like my own kid, but like most kids, I don't fucking like them. I think that most kids are just like crazy, out of control these days. And like you go to the mall, bro, and then dude, a couple months back, I was at the mall and this maybe, I don't know, 4-year-old, 3-year-old, something. He could walk. Yeah, I mean, so he could walk. And was like hitting his mom, like kind of like just hitting her like on the leg or whatever. And this lady was like with her girlfriends and they thought, oh, it's so funny. He's like, yeah, he's just, whatever. And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why do you think that shit is like good? You know what I mean? Like straight up, like that's bad. Like he's gonna grow up and beat women. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like straight up, like you shouldn't be like encouraging that shit. You should be like, hey, you don't do that shit. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I don't even really like these like new kids that are coming out now. Like I feel like kids today just kind of suck overall. Not every kid, Topher, I'm sure that your kids are awesome. You know what I
Wonderful.
mean? Yeah,
Wonderful.
I'm
Thank
sure
you.
your kids are awesome, man. But I'm talking as a general whole, not if I can say in the words of Jesse Lee Peterson, not all, but most, right? They kind of suck a little bit.
No, yeah, I mean, of course, they're terrible conservatives in the beginning, man. But they tend to grow up to be better people, man. But that's what they need, people like us to help guide them down
Facts.
the right path, man.
Facts.
But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, man. I think.
Yeah, man. I think that we're good. I think that this was pretty successful, man. I don't know. Drop a comment in the drop a comment in the comment section and let us know. Like, did you enjoy it? Like, was it kind of dope? Like, we definitely want to have like next episode. So next week, when we'll go through like more TikTok videos, we got to see if we can bring on like some crazy leftist that, you know, because we see crazy leftist bullshit on our TikTok feed all the time, and see if they'll come on and like defend their position.
Yeah. So we'll look into that and bring them on almost like you see on Fox and Friends. Everybody that brings them up for like 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Have ask a couple of questions and go through some stuff. Because we want them to explain what in the world convinced them that was a good idea, right? So that's what we want to ask, and we want to challenge that, and we want to make it open and make it entertaining to everybody. Because I feel like it's a learning lesson, and also a trolling lesson at the same time. Because it'd be fun.
And to be clear, like when we choose a video, we will reach out to you personally and say, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to come on here. But even if you decline, I wouldn't decline, just because then now you're not there, and then you probably just going to get dunked on and you can't even back up your shit. So, I would encourage you guys, if we come across your video and we find it to be some crazy shit, hey, just come on and just kind of defend what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Maybe you can educate us. Maybe we were wrong, but we're not going to know unless you accept. If it's just us talking, then it's just us talking.
Someone said I need higher audio. So I'll turn it up next time.
You need higher audio? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'll turn it up next time. I think Tyler just had to turn down his headphones.
Yeah, I hear you like very loud. It's not as bad as earlier though, but I hear you loud.
Yeah. So we can make that adjustment next time. And so that's what we're here for. Thank you for the feedback. And like I said, make sure you follow us on social media, which you can see right here. Instagram, TikTok, same thing for Tyler over here. And we will be posting this to Apple Music, SoundCloud, and all that jazz. We can't guarantee you when this is going to be there yet, but for sure it's going to be live on YouTube once this is done. So you can come back and watch the beginning if you missed the beginning. If you want some people to share with that we said some cool stuff with, or if you just want to just hang out or subscribe so you can find out when the next time we're going to go live.
Yeah, please subscribe.
I think Thursdays is what we're looking at.
Yeah, we're looking at Thursday nights, man. We're going to try and look at Thursday nights. We're going to see if we can kind of keep that going, man. This seems to be a pretty good night. Yo, when we end this, now this isn't technically the outro, but Topher made this super dope intro. Like, I'm talking, if anybody grew up in a time, or at least knows about Kenan and Kel, one of the littest 90s TV shows of all time, my man made like a better version of that shit. It's super fire, super lit. So we're gonna play the intro as the outro today, just so for anybody who may have missed it. But yeah, man, I think that we're pretty good. You guys have a great night. Thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure that you sub. Anything else you got, Toph?
That's it, man. All I want to say, thank you for tuning in to the Topher and Tyler podcast.
Hey.
Yeah. Everybody listen up, I got some really good news. It's time that Topher and Tyler come and bring you the views on current politics. A lot of it's corrupted and skewed, but they're about to break it down to information you can use. Started on TikTok, then they hit the gram. The guidelines flip-flop, caught up in the sham. Censoring conservatives, it's all a big scam. Now they got their own podcast and kick it with the fam.